Hello and welcome back to Module 3, Lesson 4, Being Visible. So what are we going to cover in this lesson? We're going to talk a bit about online visibility. So that's just going to touch again upon some of the stuff we've covered previously, just to bring that all together. And we're also going to talk a little bit more about face-to-face networking. So online visibility is really important, and there's lots of ways you can get online visibility. And some of that is the things that we've talked about previously. So things like having your business details on your personal profile, engaging in Facebook groups, having a Facebook page for your business or a LinkedIn page. You can have a LinkedIn page for yourself as an individual, but you can also have a LinkedIn page for your business if you want to have that separate as well. We've talked a bit about Instagram. So Instagram's another great place where you can get online visibility by having a page. Similar is things like YouTube or TikTok. There's lots of different ways that you can get visibility for your business. And we've talked a bit about websites. So you might like to have a website, and on that website, you might like to have a blog as well. So that is where you could create some content, maybe some videos. You might have a vlog where people can come to and learn about different aspects, either about your business and the services you offer, or more generally about the kind of area that they're looking for help in. So, it might be that if you're a social media expert, you've got blog posts about, how to make a really nice Instagram feed and stuff like that. And often it's through looking at that content that people come across you. They find you, by searching things like, in Google or things like Pinterest to try and find information if you're on Pinterest. And they find your blog post, and then through that they get to know you. And same with social media, people get to know, like, trust you by following you on social media or watching your YouTube videos and that kind of thing. And from having that visibility, they then get to know about you and your business. And if they need help, then you're more likely to be the kind of person who's front and center of their mind. And that's the same with Facebook groups. So I talked a bit about engaging in Facebook groups. And once you start to engage in Facebook groups and answer lots of things, answer people's questions and comment on posts, then people will start to get to know you and remember you, and you've got that online visibility. So I mentioned it in the earlier video, but I'm going to say it again. So in terms of things like Facebook groups, it's really good to be regularly engaging in those groups. So you might decide that you're going to choose 2 or 3 groups, and that you're going to spend 5 minutes a day where you go through and you answer questions. And you can use the search function, and you can find specific posts where people have put things up that's relevant to your service offering, and make comments on those specific posts just to save you a bit of time. And where it's possible, you can also share, sometimes groups have the opportunity to have sort of advertising type posts. So there's also the option to do that as well. And then in terms of your own content, it's really important to post regularly. I'm not a social media expert, but my own experience has been that the more regularly you post, the more engagement you get. And so, if you're posting once a week, you're going to get a lot less engagement generally than if you're posting every day. And it's also quite variable, the kind of content. And I think you'll get to learn over time what works for your audiences, and it's always changing. So it's quite hard to sort of say precisely, especially since I'm not a social media expert, but I've found generally video gets more engagement. Generally, things where you're sharing really quality content. So I've done quite a few posts on my pages where I do things like 5 top tips to do blah. So things where it's kind of really useful, or posts that are kind of step by step, or videos that are step by step. So one of the things that I got a lot of engagement on with the freelance mama, and it was kind of completely unexpected and unintentional, was that I did a video was really directed at a friend who was needing some help with creating an ebook, and I had created an ebook using Canva, and so I created a video for that, and I just uploaded that video to my YouTube channel. And I think it must have been something to do with the number of, I don't know, the way that I'd worded the the description on YouTube, but it was one of those things like how to create an ebook using Canva. And so the kind of thing that people would search for in Google, and I got loads and loads of engagement with that, which was completely random. But I think you'll find that over time, you do posts and you'll see what your audience is interested in and what gets more traffic. There's often also like a correlation between posts that get good engagement and the increase in your followers. So obviously, again, the more followers you've got, the more people you've got who are likely to engage with your content. And then, potentially they might share that content with other people, and it just grows your visibility online. So lots to learn about social media. You might very well know more than I do, but lots of different ways that you can have online visibility. But again, I wanted to stress, don't spend so much time doing all of this that you don't actually have time to work in or on your business itself. All of the social media stuff is very time consuming. So pick a few things that's going to help you to raise your visibility online and run with those. Again, try and pick the things that get the most engagement. So if you try a few things, you might find that you get way more engagement on Instagram than on Facebook. So you might like to focus on Instagram as a platform rather than Facebook. You'll, after playing around with it, you'll get a feel for where you get the best engagement and the best visibility. Another thing I've put on there is a way to get online visibility is to work with other people. And so you can get onto other people's pages and websites. So one thing that I did a while back with the Freelance Mama was to do blog shares with people. So, get them to come and do a guest blog post on my page, and I would do a guest one on theirs, which means that then you get exposure to their audience and they get exposure to your audience. And, you get links onto their website so people can find you, and it just gives you another point of contact, another place where you're visible. And you can do collaborations. It's another way. Like I've done quite a few of those over the years, particularly when I had the baby business, doing things like online collaborations for competitions. So, where you might put something in as a prize, and so there might be 10 of you doing a gift basket, and each of you puts in something. This was for the product business, so it's a little bit different, but it could be that you could get together with a group of other businesswomen, and I have seen it done once before where people did like a business package. So it might have been like a photographer who would do a headshot, and a website person who would do a review of your website, and a social media person who might give you a social media plan. And so you can do this collaborative competition. And so all it really costs you is some of your time, and then you get exposure to all of those people's audiences as well. So more people get to know you through that process. So it's another way just to raise your online visibility. And then finally, I've just touched upon advertising there. Again, definitely not my area of expertise, and I've found advertising to be a bit hit and miss, generally for me, because I haven't really sort of gotten into learning how to do it very well. It's been more miss than success. And you have to be careful because you can quite quickly spend quite a lot of money with Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is doing advertising posts. So, you can give it a try and see what works for you, or you could do some trainings on how to do ads for those kind of things. But once again, you can end up spending quite a lot of money, whereas sometimes you get more value out of that personal touch, so that engaging with people and getting to know people, real people, engaging with real people, building a brand for yourself so that people start to know, like, and trust you, and see you as a real person more than just sort of a Facebook ad, which kind of gets a bit lost in all the noise sometimes of what's on social media. So the last thing I've just put in there is that the key is providing value. So any of this stuff, whether it be posts on your own Facebook page or videos or doing collaborations. The key is providing value. So, sharing some good content with people without giving away everything, sharing the kind of content that's going to get people really engaged with your page and wanting to get in touch with you if they decide that they need one-on-one help. So the next thing I've got here is face-to-face networking. Again, we've touched upon this in previous lessons, but I wanted to bring it up again here because having face-to-face visibility and getting to know people personally just raises the bar in terms of people being able to remember you, and particularly if you're looking for people to work with locally, then face-to-face networking groups are really, really great. You can network with people so it might be through local networking groups, it might be industry-specific groups where you might already be involved in that community, so you might already have some connections there. Networking with people who you've worked with before. It might be just having a coffee with a friend, sort of like what you were doing in the early stages of getting to try and get some ideas about your business. It's just letting people know what you're doing, that you've got this availability, and just making the most of those contacts again to spread the word about your business. And there's lots of local business events, lots of groups. You might find them, quite a few of the online groups also have face-to-face networking meetings that you can go along to. A lot of those are either free or fairly inexpensive, and they're a great way of getting to know people. You might be a member of a local organization that runs seminars and events and things like that. I know as a lawyer, there's lots of different lawyer-specific groups that you can become part of, and they run networking events and seminars, and so you can go along to relevant events and get to know people that way and just network with people. And generally, you tend to get to talking about the kind of work that you do, and then they get to know you. If you've got a business card, it's an opportunity to hand out your card. So, if they're ever looking for somebody who provides your service or they need a bit of help down the track, then they've got your contact details and they can get in touch with you. And like I've mentioned a couple of times, just that personal touch of getting to meet people in person tends to make you really a lot more memorable in a lot of cases than it would do, if someone saw an ad or, saw posts on social media and that kind of thing. So it can be worth putting some time into these sorts of events as well. Okay, so getting to the action station for this lesson. If you haven't already done so, then choose a couple of different Facebook groups that you want to interact in and be intentional about those groups. So make sure you find the kinds of groups where the kind of people that you're wanting to work with are likely to be. And just do, like I mentioned, go through and talk to people, answer questions, just be really supportive and really helpful, and people will get to remember you. And then do a bit of research about local networking groups that you can attend in person. You might like to go along, get to meet people, have a coffee. It's not sort of about being really salesy or anything like that, but just it tends to be more just like a friendly chat with people. No one's, and a lot of the groups I've been to anyway, and people aren't sort of trying to hard sell you anything. It's just like-minded businesswomen getting together to have a chat about business life, and by doing that, getting to know you and know the kinds of services that you're offering. And you might find that really early on in those meetings that you make relationships with people that end up becoming work relationships. So again, you might like to choose one or two of those events that you might like to attend in the next month. And then by doing that, you might find that there's a group that you really click with, and you can attend that one regularly and start to build up relationships that way. And also, some of these groups can be a great way, once you've got to know people, of also getting referrals on, just building your audience and building your community that way. Okay, so it's now time for us to move on to module 4, lesson 1. So we're going to talk a bit in that lesson about getting organized.